go. Starting all the recordings and hitting go in 3, 2, 1.
This is the World of Warcraft podcast, so you don't have to. You're listening to The Instance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Instance. This is episode 612 of The Instance. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by the triumphantly returning Patrick Beja. It has been like a month and a half since we've seen his smiling French face. Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. First of all, I missed you both and the entire audience. And secondly, is the return triumphant? Is it triumphant?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel like it is.
Definitely a return. Triumphant remains to be determined.
Excellent. I can settle for that.
All right. Well, I'm glad to have you back. Also, of course, with us, the other voice you heard is Garrett Weinzerl. Garrett, welcome back.
The Instance, settle for that.
That's right. What do you? Your background is like a cool bokeh-looking thing. What are you doing back there? Something looks cool.
I got sick of fighting with chroma key constantly and decided, screw it, y'all can see my racks of crap that I
like
don't
it.
usually show.
I
completely
like it.
reorganized my studio last week. Before you know it, it's going to be Scott Johnson levels of
chaos.
Oh my God, back there.
Well, here's the funny thing. I went through a very similar process not that long ago where I was like, I don't want to fiddle with a green screen anymore. I'm sick of this. I want to just have a background. And right now it's shitty, but I'll get to the point where it's not. I'll get it all cleaned up and it'll be very video gamey. Got a bunch of new Blizzard stuff to put back there. It's going to be great. But yeah, I'm done fiddling. I don't want to do green screen.
Yeah, man, and I also got a nice camera, and it's just a waste to green screen when you can have a nice what am I rocking right? I believe it's a 35 millimeter prime lens.
Yeah,
it's great.
Look at you with the background
Great.
and the fuzz out and all the foreground.
It's
background.
so good. It's
Yeah,
so good.
It's very nice.
I have a white wall.
Patrick's white
Yes,
wall.
you do. It's a lovely white wall, Patrick.
Yeah.
It's a great
Thank
white
you.
wall.
He's not in his normal
So
studio. He's in Helsinki for reasons and not his normal stuff. So.
The lens, I believe that's like a really classic Logitech. Yeah,
Absolutely.
nice.
High end.
Good to see you
is-
going old school.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty and the lighting. I hope you can see that the bottom of my face is lit, but not the top, which is an original look I'm developing. So I've got skills.
Yeah.
I guess.
GTX enabled RTX Patrick with his multiple levels of ray trace lighting. It's fantastic.
Exactly, and shadows that look very realistic.
Latest Patrick patch. Make sure you remember to enable ray tracing on your new Patrick Beja.
Yeah. It's just there in the settings. Don't worry about it. All right. We're going to dive right in, get straight to it. Let's begin with some side quests. Tune into Gamescom on the 27th. What is that? 2 days? Yeah. That's the Thursday, I guess it is. For a new... Yeah, is it? I think it is. Yeah, 27th. There it is, Thursday. Because today's the 25th. Derp. Hey, they got a brand new Shadowlands animated series premiering then. More about what I think it will actually be here in a second. That sounds a little more highfalutin than it probably is. But anyway, this is according to a fresh post on the official Warcraft blog. During the opening night of the event stream, you'll be able to watch the first of what will be a 4-part animated series. The title of the series is called Afterlives. And Blizzard explained that the series will focus on various powerful covenants you encounter in the Shadowlands expansion. A very short preview video is up on their site now. What I alluded to earlier is that this isn't going to be... What this is another one of those pre-Warlords things, pre-Legion things, pre-BFA things. Not a fully animated thing. It's a lot of animatic stuff. This is a guess because all the preview stuff, that's what it looks like.
No, it's not a guess. This is what it is.
So there you have it.
There's no one's misunderstanding this.
There's
Everyone
been
is
some
on that page.
confusion because I got bombarded with messages yesterday saying, "Can you believe they're going to do this before the Overwatch one even gets done?" And they were like freaking out about it. So I had to like hunt around and look. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was obvious from the preview.
I respect your audience very much, Scott. But the people who thought it wasn't this
are
I
crazy.
respect a little less, maybe. They don't seem like, they are deserving of the full level of respect.
Well, okay.
But,
To give them a little credit, you could see them getting excited about something like a proper, fully animated Warcraft series, right? And so maybe they jumped the gun a little bit, got a little overwhelmed.
I mean,
with
it's only
excitement.
been 10 years since we had this thing every, 2 months before the expansion or 3 months before the expansion. And honestly, I think this one, to kind of get off that boat I'm setting on fire right now, I think it looks pretty good. It's going to give a little bit of flavor to each covenant, a little bit of lore and story behind each of them. I think it looks pretty interesting. Also, some characters previously thought to have disappeared are returning because we're getting to see them in the land of the dead.
Well, can you guys confirm or deny? I have to admit, I tried to avoid as much spoilers about this as I can because I am excited about it, and I always enjoyed these. Did I see Garrosh Hellscream in a screenshot, or was that all chained up like war crime style? You know what I'm talking about, Garrett? Did you see that by chance?
I watched it. I didn't catch that. I only watched it once.
Okay.
I figure I'll probably rewatch the actual Afterlives when they come out. But I only watched the teaser trailer once, and that did not catch my eye, dude. You know me. I started foaming at the mouth and glazed over the second I saw a silhouette of Arthas on screen. So anything else was just completely fell out of my head.
Yeah.
And I just went to order yet another body pillow.
Was it an Arthur's body pillow?
That was the joke. Yes, that was indeed the inferred joke.
Yeah, you love him.
Yeah, so I mean, it would make sense. Garrosh is a spoiler alert for people that didn't play the worst WoW expansion. Garrosh is dead. So it would make sense for us to run into him in the Shadowlands.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, so I probably, man, I honestly didn't catch it, but yeah, you probably saw Garrosh.
it makes sense. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised
if he dies.
It's
and he's
tricky though because they could have us run into essentially every character who's died, and I don't think they want that. Like, it can't be Festival of the Dead. It's not like Cinco de Mayo over there. You don't see everyone who's dead. I mean,
that's basically the pitch for this expansion.
No, right, you're right. I mean, technically,
I believe the pitch is the opposite of what you just said. I believe it's exactly. Right. Hey guys, what if we did the Deus de la Muertes, but Warcraft and?
Yeah, it is.
No,
kind
you're
of
right.
that.
You're right. I just think it might be a little bit, I don't know, overwhelming, or like if you meet every single hero that's disappeared, that's died over the course of Warcraft, it would be a little bit too much. At some point, you're like, gosh, Uther, come on, we don't need any more coffee. Go away. Like, you have to make it into something special.
Yeah, Uther Pendragon, dude. We're gonna get him, and he looks the same, and who knows what he's doing. He's breathing some kind of weird air light out of his face. Like, it's real brief. They don't really show you a ton here, but yeah, animated series. I wish it was more like, hey, Netflix is getting 12 episodes for the first season, sort of animated series, but we're gonna have to wait for that. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's a completely different.
Yeah. But I hold out hope, dude. One day it'll happen, right?
I mean, I think, well, first of all, the Netflix thing, maybe, but the CG, which is a little bit more, immediate and realistic, the CG intros, we've had so many in the last expansion. I think we're going to have a few others in this one. Maybe not, but it wouldn't be surprising if we had a couple of those simple ones, where they have just a couple of characters and one setting, and it would make sense to have more.
And from like a what's the word? Assembly line workflow angle is the word I was looking for. All of the extra fully rendered cinematics that we got in BFA utilized character models that we saw in the intro cinematic, save for one big surprise, which was Thrall. Every single other character model, even the undead rogues that we're all losing our minds about, are in the original BFA cinematic.
So what you're saying is that we're going to see Sylvanas in every single cinematic going forward.
I was going to say all signs point to Bolvar, because that was a brand new model made for the Shadowlands cinematic. And
he's the Sylvanas of this expansion when it comes to reused cinematic rigs.
Sarafang.
Sourfang, yeah, he was
Sourfang.
your favorite over there, or not your
Yeah.
favorite, but the favorite. Yeah, I don't know,
We
man.
didn't see too much more Sylvanas outside of her walking out to tell the Horde they are nothing.
I don't really know what to expect for cinematics overall, but I do wonder. I thought about this the other day. So we have the Bolvar thing that we got at BlizzCon. Is that the final opening cinematic for this expansion? Because I don't think they've said for sure. Could there be another one? Is this more like that Legion thing where you had a little bit of a reveal for Illidan back then before Legion launched at Gamescom, I believe, is where that happened. And then the actual expansion had a whole other produced intro.
I think this one was the big one.
It had to have been. This is like because the Legion one that was a teaser was like the most. Like it was like what 10 seconds of Gul'dan stroking a green gem, like that was it. And then the Shadowlands one is a full-on fight scene.
It was teasy, but the reason I say this, the place of reason I'm coming from is this last expansion. They surprised us constantly with, hey, we're putting new fully rendered stuff out all the time throughout this expansion, all the way up till the funeral procession of Thrall walking out of there with Sourfang on his back, and no one expected that when that all started. So I'm just saying, I'm keeping my mind open for maybe they're going to give us more. I'm not saying they will, but it'd be great if they did. And I don't know if COVID-19 has affected their ability to truly crank out more of these fully rendered type story moments for the run of this coming expansion. But I sure hope so. I hope they figured out a way to do it and to work it out.
I think if they do, it will be like the ones that we got subsequently in BFA, which is what we were talking about, just smaller scope ones with just, less stuff to model.
Well, speaking
and we did get Old Soldier right before the BFA's release. Started off that whole Sourfang short escapade. That one made sense though because it took place before the BFA cinematic, which we'd already seen. So unless they're going to do that like to a T again, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to show us what happens after Bolvar's fight with Sylvanas.
I mean, they could show. I'm sure they could show a lot of different things if they wanted to, and it would be. I mean, still to this day, a Blizzard cinematic is a moderate to big deal. So I think it would make sense, even from a marketing standpoint, to have one for the launch if they can.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible.
Make it here. I got the answer. Make it a prequel like you did with Old Soldier. It's just Malfurion and Tyrande post-coitus in bed having pillow talk, and they're just discussing the future. Oh, that's Sylvanas. And
discussing their plans. That could work. Yeah. Although it's new models.
Oh,
we
right.
don't have them.
Yeah, so. we don't have them at all. I don't think that we've seen, right, or that we've seen fully rendered out like that.
Never have they appeared in a cinematic, but that's okay, Scott. I'm all for it as long as one of those pillows is an Arthas pillow. Now, we talked last week about the newly added ray trace shadow options in World of Warcraft. Now we know a little bit more about how they make it work for you and your rig and why it will make a huge difference in fidelity for a lot of players. Up until now, the game has used a single directional light. Imagine the sun like in the skybox or a moon at night, lighting the zone that you're in. With ray tracing now in World of Warcraft, the game can produce realistic light sources in all aspects and areas of the game. So multiple light sources. Imagine a nearby fire casting separate realistic shadows while the moon overhead still casts its own brand of dancing, probably much softer shadows. And you can see examples of this on the post on the official Warcraft site. That went up this week in some still images, and it looks nice. It looks real nice.
Yeah, it looks nice. I would argue, though, that it looks more subtle than I expected, and that's probably good, that it's not as drastic as I was. I don't know. I don't know what I thought. After playing that Doom 2 thing that they put out with RTX cards, I thought, oh, wow. I mean, this is like 100% different experience because we're talking about really harsh, natural light physics happening all around me in real time. And so that was informing my brain about, okay, well, what can we expect from Warcraft? And I expected much of the same, but it's a little more subtle than that. When you look at these screenshots, you can definitely see where the shadows are hitting and how they're working and how the tech is going to pull this off. But it's not nearly a stark difference as I was maybe thinking it might be. And again, not saying that's a bad thing at all. In fact, probably a good thing that it's not too crazy, but there's a difference. And like I said, like that fire, the problem is we don't have video of this, but that fire that's near that Tauren that's casting light around. I just showed the chat room. I'll show you again on this link. You don't get the effect that I hope ends up happening, which is that's a sort of a dancing animated fire. And these shadows cast by the rocks around the fire are going to reflect that, in theory, if it's truly using the ray tracing tech.
I mean, even if it's not doing that, this is still such a major uptick in quality, because like just getting directional radial shadows that are radiating out from a single point of light, which is in this case the campfire in question, like that's something that just didn't happen in game before.
Yeah, it looks nice. Patrick, what do you think about the brave new world of ray tracing?
I'm a little bit on your camp, on your side of the discussion, Scott. It feels like it should be more impactful. It's a little bit like, it's not like when you went from SD to HD where you're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I don't want anything else in my life from now on. It's more like when you went from HD to 4K, for those of us who are lucky enough to have done that transition. And it's like, yeah, I can see how it looks better if I look at the right spot, like really hard. But it's also kind of a thing that I guess you're getting used to, and once you don't have it anymore, you're like, that doesn't look right. And also, it justifies everyone who's bought like a $600, $800 graphics card, and now they can have realistic shadows in WoW.
Yeah.
And on a completely separate, different note, I'm gonna go and buy a 600.
Well, I've got a 2080, and I'm excited to see how this works. I think probably NVIDIA will even have newer cards out this fall, so it'll already feel like yesterday's news in terms of.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for one of those and then
I just
update my entire system, which is from 2014.
Oh, it's time, dude. It's
wow.
time. Yeah.
How?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you live? Are you
surprisingly well? It does everything really well. It's surprising because we're used to upgrading all the time. I didn't for a number of reasons. It runs everything, man. Everything runs.
Yeah.
And not at the highest settings, obviously, and I don't have ray tracing.
That's a very large distinction.
Yeah. I mean, if you're running things at 1080p and with
everything runs at 3 frames a second, but
everything
runs.
Not highest settings, but everything runs like 30 to 60 in mid-tier settings, which for a 6-year-old machine, I don't think you would expect that's how it would run.
Right.
But
yeah,
obviously it's time to upgrade. And
Yeah.
when NVIDIA announces new graphics cards, I will see WoW Shadows in their fullest glory.
I'm excited. But also, I think that the tech has flattened some, so you can have a PC from 2014, and if you've kept up with a couple of upgrades, you're good. Like you're not in horrible shape. And so that didn't used to be the case. It's just I think we're just getting longer and longer periods of time out of our hardware that's current. Like I'm not even all that convinced these new NVIDIA cards are going to be that big a leap from the 2080, and I'm not going to be that motivated.
It's not going to be a big leap at all from the 2080. The 2080 is the biggest thing you can buy right now, except if you go like TI and whatever. Of course, you're good for like 5 years with that card, Scott.
Yeah, that's true. Patrick, we also have some exciting news about nudes. We have some exciting nudes, but also news about WoW Classic purists.
Got to get the instance support package for those.
Well, the exciting nudes for WoW Classic purists. Wait, that's getting weird.
Yeah.
No, news. As of 3 days ago, all realms in North America are operating on one single layer. That means high population servers have been running for months, requiring 2 layers, which allowed for twice as many concurrent players at any given time. But now they don't need those 2 layers. You only have one, and everyone can see each other. That's wonderful. You could argue that this means that people are falling off Classic enough to free up this for this change, but Blizzard doesn't get into that kind of detail, so we'll never know. They went on to say that due to the single layer move, quote, we've disabled the temporary restrictions on character transfers for realm to realm in this region, end quote.
Yeah, you can send, so you no longer are you stuck on the server you hate just because of this problem. But this has to be that they finally just sort of settled down on population problems, because having the 2 layers and therefore violating the unwritten code of the vanilla player of, we have to all be in the same place at once and no instancing. You're finally back to that. One layer. In other words, no invisible people in your zone. You're all there lagging together. Okay?
And that rule, by the way, Scott, is very much written in the blood of the devs that the WoW Classic players stole and bit off their throats.
So you're saying they're glad. Blizzard is glad to be doing this. They didn't want to do it either.
I think the layering was supposed to last for a few weeks they expected. So obviously it means there are less players on Classic now. I don't see how it would work otherwise. Maybe there is another explanation. But also it's been a year since the launch of Classic.
Yeah.
It's surprising that it lasted. They needed that tech for that long.
Yeah.
Boy, what Classic needs is an expansion.
Yeah, let's get to that.
I really need to bring the player base back. Yeah, I logged into Classic after the show last week, and I sent you a screenshot, Scott. I was like,
yeah,
holy butts. I haven't logged into Classic in forever, and I got a hair after the show last week, and I was like, I'm good, dust off my hunter, and maybe start moseying towards 60 again. And logged into Stormwind, and I was just like, holy crap, it's just a sea of nameplates.
Yeah.
There were so many people. I called Katie, and I was like, Katie, come here.
You sent me that screenshot.
She comes in, she goes, oh my god, it's like 2009 or not 2000. When the hell was it? 2005. That's when I started playing.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like 2005 all over again. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that screenshot was. I don't have it here. I'd show everybody. I don't have it handy, but it is. It was packed, like in a way that in 2005 my computer would have choked a little bit on that. But you were running all right? No huge drops in frames or anything. It did okay.
Yeah, I mean, too much information that no one cares about. I did just have actually a faulty 2080, so I just got a replacement for it. So I actually was having some frame rate issues.
Oh, what does a faulty 2080 do? How do you know it's faulty? What was
in my case,
Yeah.
my fan speed started maxing out.
Oh.
The second it ticked over to 72 degrees Celsius, it went from 1800 RPM to 3800 plus and would just stay there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound
And it
right.
didn't matter what I did, what I set it to, it wouldn't stop doing that. And I went through about 2 weeks of troubleshooting, going back and forth with EVGA, who's the manufacturer of mine. And they were like, all right, send it to us. We'll just send you a new one.
Doesn't sound like it's the temperature. It's it not knowing that it wasn't doing the variable speeds depending on what the temperature was. Like 72 degrees is no big deal. Like
it was up and to that point it was doing variable speeds, but the second it hit 72 it was just like, I gotta cool this down no matter what.
Yeah,
it was just like, okay, all right, calm down.
Oh, I'm glad it's fixed.
Oh, wow, that is there is a lot of people on that screenshot.
Yeah,
I
you
dropped
see
it
it
in the
now?
Discord chat.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I can show the chat.
Very impressive. That's Classic a few days ago.
Yeah.
That was exactly 1 week ago.
Yeah, look at this.
So that's maybe the moment they reduced layering, like they removed layering.
That may be about that might be about right. If it wasn't, it was close because it's been about 3 or 4 days since they changed that. So, but
this is a lot of. I mean, it might depend on the server, but that's a lot of people.
That's a sea of human beings in there playing tunes.
I played quite a bit today, and Ironforge was slammed.
Yeah, I think I hope they can maintain it, but if people I wonder if there are any players that have been on the fence because they heard, 2 layers, I'm not coming back to this. Isn't true vanilla, and now they hear that it's a single layer experience, and they're like, I'm coming back now, and then they're going to have to push 2 layers again.
I don't think it's enough to make you not want to play it if you want to play it. It's small.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's important, but it's not.
If you miss crowds, WoW Classic and give you your virtual crowd fix.
Yeah,
definitely.
A little claustrophobic, a little frame ratey, but it gets the job done. All right, let's move on to our main quest today. Let's talk about the future of the mobile app. We got a big update from Blizzard about what they're going to do with Shadowlands, and turns out with the 2 previous expansions as a result. That was a bit of a surprise, but I think there's a broader discussion we can have a little bit about whether or not we think they're doing enough with World of Warcraft and taking it on the road, as it were, with things like the mobile app. So obviously we're getting support for adventures and all the usual functions in Shadowlands, everything they've announced that's happening in this app to some degree. Still no pet battles, none of that stuff. We're just talking about sort of, the new iteration of the adventure table, which is adventures now, and some other stuff for Example, you'll be able to inspect your character. You got full stat and gear inspection stuff going on. Easily swap your characters around so you can create a favorite character that you jump to immediately. I don't remember how much of that was in the current one, but it seems like was it? Okay.
It's been a while, yeah.
I couldn't remember. I never changed it from GURP.
Yeah.
It was GURP and it was never anything but GURP. So I don't know how much of that ever changed, but sounds like that's about the same. You'll also get a World of Warcraft news portion that'll be there. So anytime you want the hottest, latest breaking WoW news, that'll be in there. And with the updated WoW Companion app, you'll be able to choose from Legion, that's the expansion, Battle for Azeroth, our current and about to go away expansion as the most current, and Shadowlands. All of the content for all three of those will be there in BFA. You'll track your world quests, view active world quests that are already going, emissary bounties, all that stuff you're used to that you remember from BFA or have been doing now. Manage your missions, sending your champions out, all that stuff. Fuel the war campaign, so all of that business is there. In the Legion content, if you don't remember, you got the world quest stuff. You can manage your followers in there. So there's that whole thing. Do their equipment and upgrades. Train your recruits. Start and complete missions. Research order hall upgrades. So clearly they think enough people will be doing new character and eventual leveling through, say, Legion content to keep all that stuff active. Active enough that
even
it makes
if
a
you
difference.
are, though, even if you do that,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to waste time doing. I mean, clearly someone will, but it will be very few people who will go and do those things. I guess it doesn't really, it doesn't really change anything to leave them in.
No, I guess not. But the Legion part is interesting to me because to me it says Blizzard is truly counting on one of the major reasons this expansion is anticipated for me. So I'll speak from my perspective. Is the new character experience. They have put a lot of work into that. There's a whole new starting thing for you. And they have balanced the world in such a way with the level squish that you are meant to get in there, start new characters, level them to 50 and then 60 with the expansion, and have that experience. And this says, oh, okay, well, on the higher end of that experience, the more modern end of that experience, they're still going to support that for people who want it. Now, why you'd care about your order halls or any of that stuff then, I don't know, because your artifact weapon isn't working. That's been neutered and will still be neutered after this expansion. So,
well, depending on how you're questing, there's some quests that can only be completed through your mission table, and there's still reasons to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So that kind of integration
I don't think
is
particularly
there.
exciting reasons, but they exist.
So I would say here's the big question for me. Despite all this expanded functionality and keeping stuff in, adding new things, refining the experience, all this integration, is this what we should have, or should we be expecting more from what we can do mobilely with the game? And maybe I don't even just mean phones, like from the web or when I'm not in the game. Should there be, or could there be more things that I get to do in WoW to manage my character, my progression, my stuff? And my answer to that is, yeah, I wish there was more. Like, I do think that it would be great if the game did finally support something like pet battles. I'd finally care about pet battles, honestly, if they let me do it through an app like this. But if you guys got any thoughts about the kind of stuff you think Blizzard should be giving us in World of Warcraft in particular through that mobile app experience, or is this enough? Am I up in the night with this whole point?
I mean, what else do you want, I guess, is the question.
I want pet battles, number one. I want recipes. Just kidding. I made that part up. I don't want recipes. It's fine. No recipes are fine. Hardcore pornography. See, this is the problem. I don't have good ideas about what I want.
Well, I know a great place with some pillows you'd be interested in. But so I don't know. I'm of a couple minds. I don't think it would be a bad thing for all of the things that you just suggested. All of it. No kink shaming here. Really, for me, like, I've wanted fishing. I've wanted the most mundane things. But like the further we've gotten away from, I think, a time where having those features would have been a timely addition, the less and less I guess this crosses my mind. Because for a really long time, like when pet battles were first announced, it seemed to me like a no-brainer that they would eventually be coming to mobile devices.
Yeah, I did too.
And now it's just like, well, why would you bother?
And garrisons, when garrisons happened, which was the same time, and we had the tables and all the other stuff, I remember thinking, oh, well, all this stuff, we're gonna figure out a way to integrate all of this. and most of
That's
it didn't.
kind of what we got.
Well, kind of, but not in a
Not
way.
all of the garrisons, but the war table is what it is.
What I may be asking for is unreasonable because Blizzard wants me to pay my money a month and they want me to be in their game, right? The more I do offline, the less I'm in their game. I guess my question is
I think
go ahead.
no, there is, if they manage to make a compelling phone app that keeps you in their ecosystem, then you're still engaged with the game even when you're not in front of your PC. I think there's definitely a, kind of marketing business reason to push for that. I'm sure there would be a million things they could do. Why they're not doing it, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure they have very good reasons for that. But if we're talking about what we know, because we would want many different things, but clearly we're not coming up with the good idea that could justify us saying you should do that, except for the pet battles, which again they don't want to do. But there's going to be the adventure in the upcoming expansion, and maybe that could be fun. For those who don't know, it's essentially an auto battler, right? A simplified auto battler. That could be something that is simple enough that it will work on mobile, but also more engaging than just selecting the right adventurer or mercenary, whatever we've had in the past. Maybe it will be kind of what you want, Scott, without really knowing what you want, which is a small experience you can play on the go, but that's engaging enough that you're going to want to do it when you're not playing WoW.
Yeah. Like, to me, I think that everything you said makes sense, and I understand that they don't want to put the entire experience out of the game. But, like, doing a lot of gathering and profession stuff, I would love to do that on that phone. Like, I don't like doing it in the game.
Like
because
crafting or?
Yeah, like crafting. Like, let me give me an interface where, sure, in the game I had to farm everything. Okay, great. I've done that. It's all in my bank and ready to roll. I need to get to crafting. Let me do that while I'm waiting at the dental office sitting in a chair. You know what I mean?
I think the problem with this is that if you take out the walking around, physically walking around in the virtual space to go to the material thing and the forge and the whatever, then you end up having a phone app where it's just pressing buttons. Select components, craft, and you don't have the sense of it being anything other than just pressing buttons. I'm not sure it would work as a WoW thing.
I think that's why they don't do it. So I think you're onto it as to why they don't do it. But I would make the argument that at the end of the day, if you're doing a lot of crafting, that is all you're doing. You're just pushing buttons. And yeah, you've got this interface.
If you're doing a lot of crafting, you have all your add-ons that simplify it for you.
Well, yeah,
you're not going to want to do it on the phone.
That's a good point. There are a lot of those going on, and that's already a thing, and it's hard to fight that. Also, same with Auction House, because that would be the other functionality I would much rather have on the go is more Auction House capabilities. But I don't know. I know it's a fine line. I know they've talked about all this, so this is not, it's not like we're coming up with new ideas here, but I would love to know some of the reasoning for why some stuff's in there and other stuff isn't. Having the auto battler like thing happen makes a lot of sense to me. That's very phone interface already, even in the game where you'll do it there. And the order hall stuff already made sense, and those kinds of things make sense. But I don't know. I feel like there could be more. So
I definitely agree with you that there could be more, and it would be a really interesting interview one day to have them go over why they never did more with mobile phones and smartphones.
Yeah,
it would be really interesting.
As for that
I'm
book,
sure there's a good reason for it, but
oh yeah, no. Look, when I write my giant book about the history of Blizzard, I'm going to ask that question. First thing I ask: how come there wasn't more on the mobile app? Now this. All right, time for some quick, no, I'm sorry, we don't call it that anymore. Rapid fire questions, okay? These were submitted to me via the community. Garrett, you've gathered a couple, right?
Yes, I definitely didn't forget, and I'm not scrambling to grab leftovers from last week.
Don't worry, even if you did, because I got some good ones here, and they also span kind of everybody here, so we're going to jump around and ask these questions. For example, and you got
okay, just so you know, okay, I'm going to do that in the form of a rapid fire question. How good is Patrick at answering rapid fire questions?
The answer
Scott?
to that question is very good at answering them. He's very
It
good.
is not. You
Oh.
are incorrect.
Ah,
I
man.
am terrible.
Crap. Okay, well, I better have a buzzer up, so I'm ready for this. All right, here's the buzzer. That first question was incorrect. Patrick, here's your first question from DJ or D Gats Z, I think is how you say it. What is Patrick's favorite flavor of cheese?
All natural.
Ooh. I'm going to say no because I don't know what that means. All right, moving on. This is from Tony T, who says, according to Garrett, who's the worst actor in Star Wars history?
Jeez.
You all
Thank you,
right?
Garrett, for making me feel okay. For not being
In
good
the
at this.
background of that, whoever the hell did that singing alien in the remake of Return of the Jedi, I hate everything that had to do with that.
Oh, that's a pretty good call. I'm going to give you we'll give you a ding on that. I was going to say Jake Lloyd, but that's an obvious one.
That's just mean and unfair. That script was garbage.
Yeah, and plus he's just a kid. I can't pick on kids. All right. Well, he was. Anyway, Madros on Thrall says, what show do you wish was still on the air, Patrick, and why is it the IT crowd or the IT crowd?
Because The Wire is too good to continue forever.
Oh, correct answer. Very well done.
Not a great last season.
Yeah, it was very good. Baby
Wait a sec. Okay, keep going.
Baby Yoda T wrote in, says, what movie would you like to see remade, Garrett?
Just any?
Any movie.
All of the prequels with a script that makes sense, but the same cast. I like the cast.
I can't argue with that. That's pretty good. Well, they're all old now, though, so it's hard to, it was 21 years ago.
Sure. Well, you know what? Then cool. There will be romances that are more age appropriate than they were originally.
All right. Boy, the sand is really going to bug Anakin now. All right, moving on. Trumpole on Fizz Crank. For Garrett, he says, Scott has GURPS Perfect Arrow. What item would you want named after your character, Garrett?
Garrett's Fabulous Hair Pomade.
Incorrect. The answer is Garrett's Under Things of Delight. I made that up.
No, I think the hair pomade is great. It's much better.
All right. Rillian on Earthen Ring says, Patrick, if you had to choose only one restaurant to cater the rest of your life, what would it be, and why is it a terrible choice?
McDonald's.
That seems easy. You're not a fan, are you? You think we're stupid over here for having the McDonald's everywhere, don't you?
I think you're stupid for having your McDonald's, but ours is great.
Oh, yours is good?
Oh, absolutely. It is
Non-US
delicious.
McDonald's are the best McDonald's.
Yeah. I had the Chinese Big Mac I had was amazing. I'm with you.
Although no, actually, Ichiran ramen from Japan.
Oh, all right.
Less variety, but it's just as many calories, but it's really delicious.
Well,
It got so snooty in here real quick.
It really did. But as Patrick always says,
I like to eat.
all right, moving on to the next question. This is my final one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is just a comment from Brilliant, who went on to say, P.S. Love the show for over a decade. Starcast colliding with the instance is my happy sandwich. That was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that, Garrett.
Freaking 10 years ago, man. 10 years.
It's a decade, brother.
So, you know, one piece of bread is Starcast, one other piece of bread is the instance, and I'm the delicious meat in the middle.
You're the-
In the middle is Movielicious.
Yeah, you're the cheesy bologna right there in the center. Well done. All right, Garrett, did you scramble any? Did you find any?
Yeah.
right.
Scott, for you, if you could add a new class to WoW, what would the class be, and why is it Bard?
It's not Bard. Bard is dumb. We're going with Battle Mage. I don't know what that is yet, to differentiate it as much as we can from a regular mage or the other part of it, the warrior side. But I want some sort of Battle Mage. That's the correct answer.
All right. That was from Jonathan Davis, by the way. I'm assuming not of Korn, but maybe from Korn. Patouche Statham wants to know, Scott, Horde leaders. Wrong answers only.
Oh.
Mr. Peanut.
Easy for you.
Frederick the Red. He's pretty bad. Orko the Orcish Hyman. Hold on. Chandra the Evil, and then finally Dirtwater Snucky and his band of merry men. There you go. Those are the
That
order. It
makes
said
total
wrong
sense.
answers only, right? Those are all correct.
There you go. There you go. It's all correct. It's all correct.
right.
Kaja
I
put.
think Immortan Joe would make for a pretty good horde leader.
I agree. Patrick and I happen to share the same devotion to Mad Max.
And
Fury
Garrett,
Road.
look at his shirt.
And Garrett, yeah, look at you. Oh, see? That's great. We are all representing today. Actually, I'm wearing an Animal Crossing shirt, so I guess I'm not really.
It's almost the same.
Yeah, it's almost the same. All right, keep going. Sorry, Garrett.
All right, Patrick. Kaja put wants to know what is the next allied race and why is it Tuskar?
Tuskar, yeah, that's pretty good because the tusks can be used in many different ways.
Wow. Whoa. What? What do you mean? What does this mean?
Have you seen a Tuskar fight?
No.
The tusks are terrible.
Okay.
I mean,
Have
in a
you
good way.
have you seen them mate?
I was trying to avoid being explicit, Garrett.
Yeah.
The Tuskar thrusts their tusks into
here we
the next
see
question.
the male-
Christian wants to know, and this can honestly go to both of you. So I'm going to throw to Patrick first, but no peeking. No peeking. How
Okay.
many else do you have? How many at max level?
It's about 10 and 15 and probably 9.
Okay.
No, right now? No, wait, no. That's terrible. I only have one max level character at the moment.
All right.
So if the question had been asked like 5 years ago, my answer would have been the correct one.
That's a really good point. It would have been. All right, so I'm going to answer
A
that
lot
too.
of
and
answers are different depending on when they are asked.
I'm not cheating here. I'm on I got all kinds of weird server twinks, so I'm going to say it's somewhere like 20. I forget even what the cap is. I think I'm at the cap right now, but it's like 20 or 30 total characters for max level. That's it.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Yeah. I did a lot of leveling in BFA. That was my favorite part of the expansion. Everything else about it kind of left me dry.
I haven't looked either. I think I'm more than 20, less than 30, and I want to say I have 6 that are max level.
That sounds right.
Wow.
You got a lot more Alliance. I have no max level Alliance characters. That's not true. I have a... You know what? I guess my answer is 5, because I have a... What is he? Or is he not like... He may not be like... Did I just boost him? I don't remember now.
This is rapid fire, so we can't actually go check.
That's what you get for that.
Joey Image wants to know, fried or sautéed? Scott?
Sauteed.
Patrick?
Then Pride.
I would say sauteed because saute means to jump, and that is very much a wrestling activity to jump, and so Joey Image, and that makes sense.
Yeah, he's a pro
I'm
wrestler.
glad Van Halen chose the word they chose for their song. Northie asked the final question of the day. If you could add a 5th covenant exclusively for boomers, what would it be called, and what would the armor set and mount look like? Scott?
Oh, these are quick fire. All right.
Keeping up with the theme of today, Immortan Joe's Half-Life War Boys and Girls, and the mount would obviously be a double-decker. What's the name of that car?
Oh.
That car, a war rig. No, war
rig.
rig.
Uh-huh.
And what's the other question?
If this is just for boomers, though. They hate that movie. Boomers hate this movie.
Okay.
They don't like that. They don't
It's the wrong answer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Let me give you a buzz. I don't know. Maybe it's Okay, I got it. It's a guy. His name will be Larry. He's the head of the faction, and he sells gold futures and massage chairs. That's his whole thing. And then the mount will be one of those Walmart scooter buddy things that you ride on to get around the Walmart when you're either too big or can't move. So it's one of those. That's your mount, and that's it. I forgot what the other part was. That's it, though. Take that, boomers. Take that.
Great. I would have gone with the NRA, and their armor set would be thigh-high socks and New Balance, and their mount would be a Corvette.
Did it. Nailed it. Well done. Thank you
Wonderful.
for joining us for today's quick-fire questions. No, I'm sorry. Rapid-fire questions. I'll remember this one day. All right, we got to do a quick email.
Mr. Johnson, I have I have questions.
All right. Seke today wrote in and said, there's a lot of controversy about adding buffs in the new dungeons depending on which covenant you are a part of. Do you think this will cause people to exclude you from pugs based on your covenant? We also have a list of those abilities, so we can kind of reference those if we need to. But this is always a danger for the game when they say, hey, here's a new min-max idea, and now it's in the game. And also, your experience in some of the content will depend, or I guess the outcome of that experience may depend on which covenant you chose. And so, therefore, yes. My answer to this is I think probably you will see some discrimination when it comes to pugs. Probably not in your own guild. They're not going to care. They'll just work with you, whatever you are.
Depends on the guild.
Depends on the guild.
That's true. Some guilds are hardcore, and they'll yell things like,
"Yeah." I think the answer is yes, because there are just people who are grumps and very specific about certain ways that they play this game, and that's just going to happen. But I don't think that the answer being yes should deter you from making interesting decisions in your game mechanics.
Also, it should not deter Blizzard from introducing interesting stuff into the game. And not doing it because they fear retribution from these players.
That was kind of my point, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of what you're saying. I just don't want... I want the game to... If anything, I want the game to experiment more, not less. And if it means a little bit of weird puggery, skull puggery out there, then fine. Let it. I would rather have more interesting things in the game and then trying to keep it as, as vanilla as possible without... that's the wrong term to use in this context, but, it doesn't need to be that clean. I like a little bit of dirty, messy mechanics in the game that are at least somewhat daring and take some risks. And covenants actually feel that way to me. So I think we're going to see them get tweaked a lot.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to balance everything perfectly anyway. It's always difficult to balance anything that has multiple options, including different characters and different specs. You could have a game that's perfectly balanced where everyone plays one spec exactly the same. Mm-hmm. But if you want different options, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to balance. And obviously with 4 covenants, that's an additional layer of balancing challenge that's introduced into the game. But I don't know that it's a critical layer. You've always had some people, if you're going to run normal dungeons, it probably doesn't matter. But if you're going to go high-level mythic dungeons, high-level keystone, probably you're going to have some people who are going to say, oh, we need this kind of spec and this kind of covenant and this kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But it's always existed for different things and different reasons, and you weren't that's the space where it's supposed to be min-maxed in that way. Mm-hmm. But I don't expect it to be a big problem for the majority of players.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. And I'm sure that they've balanced this out. But as an example, on a 10 plus or a plus 10 keystone, if you have, let's see, which I don't remember what dungeon this is. But anyway, if you have a Venthal in the group, you get a pretty powerful buff. You basically get... let's see. Down floor, powerful buff. It doesn't say what the buff is. I need the buff.
There's 2 per.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Loyal Stoneborn. Anyway, the point is, this is what I was trying to be specific, but I don't actually need to be specific, because what's going to happen is between patches, you're going to see some discrimination against a certain kind of affiliation with a covenant in your group. And then they're going to patch it and they're going to buff it, and then they're going to go, oh, this is all switch now. I don't want that DPS buff. We want this tank buff. So you can't run with us anymore, but this guy can. And yeah, that's the game. We've been doing
I'd like to see, frankly, I'd like to see WoW patched a little more often, with more micro adjustments of balance across the board, be it class and class abilities, or in this case, something like this, because I'd like to see them take more risks and be less afraid to do it. And I know there's concern for top end raiders and mythic dungeon key pushers and whatnot, and I'm just like, well, I doubt they're the majority of the players, so I don't really care about them. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, you'll send your emails, Garrett@gmail. Just kidding.
Don't, because I will not read them.
Oh, okay.
I will say, however, the difference between covenants, it seems, and the other things that you can be selected on is that it's very easy to switch specs. Maybe you're not going to be perfectly geared for that new spec, but you can probably get up to speed fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Switching covenants is going to be a little bit more involved, especially if you do it a lot. It seems like that's going to be the case. So I can see how it could be a bit more problematic, but hopefully the balance is close enough that it won't be earth-shattering. If you need to change, you can wait a little bit. Or
yeah. I agree. All right. Thanks for that email. Theinstance@gmail.com is the address to send it to. Thank you, Senkai. Actually, I think I got that one off Twitter, but those work too if I catch them. Sometimes there's some great questions there, and we'll use them. It's going to do it for the show. Thank you all for being here. Do not forget that we are supported entirely by your goodwill over at theinstance.net. You can become an Instance Plus member and get all kinds of great benefits by doing so. I just sent out or mailed out to some of our members a drawing that will never be anywhere else of a Pandaren monk, I believe is what I drew. And I'm pretty proud of it. And it's the only way you can get it. So join up for that, plus bonus shows, plus other content available only to you if you go and become an Instance Plus member at theinstance.net. Before we go, let's give everybody a chance to mention stuff they're working on. Patrick, been kind of traveling a lot, but you're back. What's going on in your podcasting world?
Just something's been on my mind. I just want to say that even the co-hosts of the Instance do not get that Pandaren monk drawing. If
No, they don't.
Subscribe to the Instance Net Plus.
We could probably work it out, but yeah, right now you don't.
Yeah, I want to be fair.
All right.
But apart from that, I guess the Phileas Club, if you enjoy talking about international interesting stuff, the Phileas Club is the show for you. And we get people from different parts of the world to talk about what's been happening to them and in their countries. So if you're interested in that, all the links are at notpatrick.com. Very easy to remember.
Worth doing, too, because at a time when there are a lot of international things going on, Patrick provides a pretty great set of voices each time that show comes out. So go check it out.
Thank you.
I've been on there a couple times. It's been a while, though. We should probably arrange something sometime.
Yeah. Let's
get my cranky American ass on there. All right. Garrett, what have you in A-Move TV right now? What have you?
WoW Killer is back after its month off, and we're going to be recording a little late this week. We're going to be recording Friday so that we can talk about the first Afterlives short the day after we get to see it. So go check that out. It's Taliesin and myself talking about a single topic within World of Warcraft every week. I've got a brand new Angry Chicken out. And been making some great updates over on HotSlogs. So if you play Heroes of the Storm and you want statistics for Heroes of the Storm, so you know who to play and how to build your hero and whatnot, check out hotslogs.com.
Nice. Game's never been better. I keep saying it, and I mean it. Go play it.
Really good place.
It's real good right now. That's going to do it for us, I believe. Yeah, we're done. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, live folks. Thank you, everybody who listens at home. If you're watching this on YouTube, whatever it is you're getting it, leave us nice comments and reviews. We'd love that. That'd be great. Theinstance.net is our webpage. Email us, theinstance@gmail.com. That's it. And we're at Instant Show on Twitter. I'm at Scott Johnson. Garrett's at Garrett Art. You can find Patrick at Not Patrick. And more shows like this at frogpants.com. We'll see you next time. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com. Oh, yeah. That's a show.